Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Ardennes Forest, the hills of Stavelot. Welcome to Spa-Francorchamps. And after what can only be described as a scintillating race yesterday, I mean, what an ending it truly was. We're back again for qualifying action here for race 2. Qualifying 2 about to get underway, and we have just barely got, I don't know if we have actually got over what had happened yesterday, but I must say, after an incredible performance from Ivan Velasco and Luca Ludwig taking victory in their Ferrari, the story was all about Steens Longin and that final stint heading through the final course of the race, where he overtook car after car, coming out of seemingly nowhere, reducing that 45-second deficit to then challenge for the podium. And didn't he just do that? Your commentary team, George Morgan, joining me is Ewan Dunlop. And Ewan, we're still trying to digest exactly what happened yesterday, because he was like Casper the Ghost. He just came out of nowhere.
You think you've seen it all, and then Steens Longin takes over the car with a 48-second deficit and goes on a covert mission into enemy territory. We didn't even say his name until the last 2 laps. And he came through, picked off 3 places on the penultimate lap alone, and brought it back for a 2nd place. It was absolutely phenomenal.
It was phenomenal, and we're here now, back again, Q2. Steens Longin is back in the car. Now, if we're to look at previous form and recollect on what has happened already, then surely, given the fact that he's a proven quantity after what we saw towards the tail end of race 1, he's obviously got a great chance here in qualifying 2, right?
If I had to put my mortgage on anybody getting pole position, it's got to be Steens.
Steady now, Ewan.
He had something in that engine yesterday afternoon. I don't know what it was, but it was steroids, it was turbo, it was everything they could find in that garage during the changeover. It was, again, it's hard to put into words what we saw, and we hope to see more of the same very early this morning. Races, of course, this afternoon. But we'll see the times come in, and they're just starting to set a few fastest lap times in the next few minutes. Cannot wait for this one.
Thing is, we shouldn't be surprised that Steens Longin, in many ways, is obviously so good. He is an NASCAR Whelen Euro Series champion in 2016. More to the point, he also won the GT2 Series Championship, European Series, that is, back in 2022. So he's had a successful recent time, also a champion in Bell Car to boot. But, I mean, to make the overtakes he did, I also want to give Lorenzo Fernandino Innocenti some props as well. Some of the moves he pulled off on Alex Ryman, going through Eau Rouge and Raidillon, was scintillating. It was bizarre, right?
It was carbon copy, 2 laps in a row, back to back, up Eau Rouge. Beautiful. But in terms of the championship now, Steens Longin and Nicholas Salins, what that did for them, that 2nd place yesterday, that's their 2nd consecutive podium. They got 3rd place at Hockenheim race number 2. So that's their 3rd podium in 4 races. And that pushes them up to 3rd place overall in the championship. Of course, Velasco and Ludwig consolidated their spot at the top, their 2nd win in a row. They've only been off the podium 1 time in 5 races. They're having a storming season.
And the phenomenal thing about the GT Cup Open is, of course, we do have that mixture of cars as well, Ferraris and Porsches, and I think that was a great advert yesterday. We saw Innocenti, we saw Alex Ryman duking it out. The Ferrari obviously showing the speed heading up through Eau Rouge and Raidillon, that straight line speed power that's necessary, getting that acceleration off the line. That is what I think allowed those overtakes to happen. Alex Ryman would eventually, though, come straight back at him in the corners. That was where Alex Ryman was better. And I must say, what a performance from both drivers. Alex Ryman, slightly hard done by, you could argue, with the fact that he had to compete with that and at the same time deal with everyone else on the grid, because Steens Longin definitely caused a stir.
I mean, the highlights could have been at least 20 minutes long from that race.
Yeah, phenomenal.
It was brilliant. So many drivers. Again, we concentrated a lot at the front. It was all going on there. But maybe we didn't give enough attention to Velasco and Ludwig, because their car is so good. 2 fantastic drivers. I would love to, if the race had been 5 more laps long, or 5 minutes or 10 minutes longer, it would have been great to see if Longin could have caught Velasco, because he was lapping a 2nd quicker in the latter stages.
He was,
of course, your lead driver, they know, but they know they've got the win race. They could be sort of falling back ever so slightly and just being a bit more casual about things. But it would have been a great show.
Yeah, we weren't sure what happened to Alex Ryman, actually, because he was lapping quicker than Velasco towards the very end. So, I mean, that's another, unknown quantity as to what happened. But he was gaining and gaining and gaining. All of a sudden lost around 2.5 seconds in one sector alone, which was totally against nature. but you never know. Maybe they've come back today with a renewed sense of vigour. Unfortunately, we can also tell you that the Fernando Navarrete car, I do understand that they had a radiator problem yesterday, and it was very unlikely that they were going to venture out onto the track. Got speaking to Mario Grumt. They do, of course, feel that they are aware of an ongoing issue that is centred around that car. Lack of power is what Fernando Navarrete was alluding to. So maybe now, given the fact they've got this radiator problem that they have to fix, maybe this in turn will fix the overall lack of power issue that they've been suffering all season long so far.
I mean, you said to him, you had a chat in the paddock yesterday, and he said he felt like there was just something not there. So now at least they've found that issue. They can change it and affect it and upgrade it for what's the next round? We are going to... Where are we going next after Spa-Francorchamps?
As far as I understand, I believe it's Paul Ricard. Yes, Paul Ricard coming up next.
Middle of July, yeah. So, yeah, get their season back on track there.
Yeah, absolutely. Steens Longin, he's back. Purple in the first sector straight away. First lap, so to the board. He set a 2:27.364 on the last one, and that is 2 seconds clear than Nathan Braun's. Of course, part of that combination between he and last year's AM champion Laurent van der Velde. They were impressive yesterday, took another AM win in this campaign too, so they'll be hoping for yet grander success. They're currently ahead of Fabio Babini, also an experienced Porsche driver and very talented too. Johannes Zelger out on circuit, 4th fastest. Glauco Solieri 5th fastest. Philippe Vils, they had some fun yesterday trying to dice with several cars around them. There was one car that did receive a time penalty as well, which I believe was the Scanicio car. I can't quite remember for the life of me whether it was, but there was an issue coming through Rivage and it was penalised. But Steens Longin up at the front, 1.1 seconds clear, and now has just raised the bar again. 2.5 seconds now clear coming out of the middle sector.
To give you an idea of where we're going, folks at home, yesterday in conditions that weren't this good. We had a damp track until about midday yesterday, and there was a 2:22.513 from Ludwig in the car 80, of course. That was the pole position time. During the race in the afternoon, obviously different conditions with the car, etc. But 2:24.807 set on lap number 3 very early in the race. So do expect these times to drop fairly quickly. And Steens Longin 1.4 seconds purple sector, and he's done a 2:24. Here we go. So we're already falling down.
Yeah, 2:24.015, and no question we're going to be seeing the track conditions take an upwards curve. Already the track temp itself up to 19.9. This morning it was around the early 18 degrees, so it has started to raise the stakes now. Very soon I'm sure it'll hit 20, because like I said, we're on 19.9 right now. Steens Longin purple in both first and third sectors. The middle sector has gone to Arturo Melgar down in third fastest. Fabio Babini has since gone second fastest with a 2:24.944, which is within a second of where Steens Longin is now. So that gap has started to shrink. We do, of course, have Johannes Zelger, the fastest AM, currently out on track with Nathan Braun, second fastest AM with that 2:29, as well as Nicholas van Dierendonk goes 4th fastest and becomes the fastest AM driver out on track with a 2:27.840, just under 4 seconds, 3.8 off the top time set by Longin. But Arturo Melgar in the Ferrari, 2/10 faster in the first sector.
Now, let's bear in mind as well, looking throughout the day, we have got a start time for this race of 4:10 this afternoon. So quite a long distance between qualifying and race time. And we are anticipating maybe a little bit of damp from about 4, 5 o'clock onwards. So the end of race 2 could be as exciting, weather dependent, at the end of race number 1 we had yesterday.
Yeah, it could well be. You never know, one strong breeze, it could push the clouds in earlier. We'll have to wait and see.
So it's a microclimate at Spa, isn't there?
It's Spa-Francorchamps. Need we say any more? There's lots of it, folks, trust me. Arturo Melgar, personal best in the second sector. Not enough, though, for a purple lap so far. Lost that time coming out of the first sector. Xander Prisbalak now up to 5th fastest and the 4th fastest Pro-Am driver, but has since been removed from that because we have now got Florentin Sescu up to 5th fastest this time around. A fastest third sector for Ivan Velasco puts him in 4th place, as now Melgar makes his way down through towards bus stop. Philippe Vils now back up into 4th. Looks like Leonov has been dropped down to 7th. Looks like their time might have been deleted, in fact. No, it's not. Car number 80 was deleted, but here comes Melgar. 3rd fastest for Arturo Melgar with a 2:24.441. Steens Longin still right at the top of the order. as now more and more cars come across the line. We have got a purple final sector still, though, for Ivan Velasco, who's actually been dropped down to 19th place, and indeed his time was deleted, so that explains why he suddenly disappeared off our timing tower. There is the 80 car as well, belonging to Mertel Ferrari. This is Ivan Velasco, the race winner yesterday, back again out on track, 88 thousandths to the good in the first sector as well. So on a fast run here, Ewan.
Yeah, I mean, these guys have had 4 pole positions out of 5 races so far this year, so just an indication of how good this car is and these drivers are. And what we found in the last 2 races, which they've won, the second race at Hockenheim and the first race here at Spa yesterday, if they're up front and they get to the first corner, they're away. However, handicaps for race number 2, there's going to be, of course, penalties or success penalties. Even they know a 20-second success penalty in the pit stop today. Are they 20 seconds quicker than the field? That is a massive question mark.
Well, the big thing as well, I mean, Ivan Velasco was being gained upon by Alex Ryman yesterday as well, and I can only imagine Steen's Longin also closes the gap. I mean, that is one driver you do not want pushing you from behind. Arturo Melgar has actually just stolen the purple first sector as well, so it's all going to change come the end of this lap. Still, though, a purple second sector for Ivan Velasco. He's just under 6.5 tenths clear at this moment in time, heading through towards Blanchimont in the furiously fast Ferrari, as he now beckons his way through towards the final few bends on this flying lap. 8 minutes and 30 still to go. Velasco looking to send his car to the top. Once more, Xander Prismalak going 6th fastest, and Vils drops down to 7th place, but still fast to the abs. And look at him whipping the tail out there, Ivan Velasco, as he heads up towards the line, goes quickest of anybody from 18th to the top with the fastest final sector. But all eyes on Matteo Lovisi, as well as the Ferrari of Arturo Melgar. Melgar fastest in the first sector. It was not an improvement, though, in sector 2. You can just see their lost time, but still up on his previous best as he makes his way through. Lovisi goes fastest now, dropping Velasco. Here comes now Arturo Melgar. Can he improve further? No, he can't. Only enough for 4th fastest. It's an improvement on his previous lap, but no improvement in terms of qualifying position.
We are still 0.4 of a second off the fastest lap set in yesterday's qualifying, in better track conditions today as well. Now, for the second lap in a row, Arturo Melgar had the quickest purple sector in sector 1, and then was 0.6 of a second down for the second consecutive lap on sector number 2. So there's an issue happening there in sector 2 for Arturo Melgar. He's clearly got the speed in the car, and he's incredibly good in sector number 1. Just can't complete to that right now.
Another driver with the pace at the moment is Matteo Lovisi. Dieter Schweppes now goes fastest of the AM runners as well. Coming into the weekend, actually, with Leandro Martins, the AM championship leaders. I think they've just had their time taken away, in fact. So it's Nathan Braun's back into the AM advantage up at the sharp end. But yes, their time was indeed deleted. The 9:11 time deleted at track limits for turn 17. And that is the escape coming through Blanchimont, that they have lost that. Matteo Lovisi up on his time, though, already, but Steen's Longin also a personal best in the first sector. Evgeny Leonov goes 8th fastest and drops Vils down to 9th. As we now see Matteo Lovisi looking for that tiger line, heading through towards the Lefanier chicane. And I must say, what a partnership he has as well, because we saw Federico Al-Rafai stick it on the front row yesterday. May have lost the places in the opening lap, but the Saudi F4 champion giving a great account of himself in qualifying yesterday morning. And it's now the turn of fellow Italian Matteo Lovisi, the GT Cup Italian GT-AM champion of last season. Now looking to try and flex his muscles here at the top of the order. 6 minutes and 10 to go. An ideal run heading through the final sector could be ideal, could yet bring him yet further success here this time around at Spa. Obviously looking to ascend higher than what they saw yesterday, but pole position would be a mighty achievement in order to obtain that as they head down in towards bus stop. Heavy on the brakes as he makes his way through, attacks the curbs to the inside, but skips over too far, and that immediately has stopped all momentum on that flying lap, and that improvement is surely going to be gone as he makes his way up towards the line. Yes, you can just see it dissipate. A huge error coming through the final 2 corners.
He lost a second on that corner alone. Wow. He's going to have 2 more chances at flying laps. There's a 2-minute 20 lap, as we know. He'll get 3, in fact. If he goes over the line before we get down to 0, we'll get 3 laps in total, and he's going to need them. So currently, just going back to the AM competition, Braun's and Lauren van der Velde. They had their second win in a row, second win of the season yesterday. Also won race number 2 at Portimao, which closed the gap by 5 points on the AM Championship leaders. So they're now just trailing up by 3 points the AM competition. Dieter Sveps and Leandro Martins leading it, and Van der Velde and Braun's in second place. Could be a brilliant weekend for them. Could walk away from Spa with the championship lead. Yeah,
this is the replay of the moment from Matteo Lovisi, and you just see they're just ran it far too far coming out. The curb obviously didn't help. It just skipped over ever so slightly, but the GDL Racing Porsche managing to get through the final bend, but to no avail, and will not improve already on their fastest time. Their fastest time right now, though, at 2:22.966, still just over half a second clear of Fabio Babini in second place. We now ride on board with the, I believe, heading through the next right-hander. Just looking on the screen as they make their way. Might well be. I mean, looking at it on screen, could yet be Babini. As he heads down in towards the next right-hand corner. It certainly is. Second fastest on the timing screen. Just a tenth of a second away from the current best time on the board. Not a personal improvement in that first sector, though.
Yeah, tiny margins. Currently on the front row for race number 2 this afternoon. And top 6 now, all the Pro-Am competitions, of course. You're going to get your faster races in that Pro-Am classes. Dieter Sveps now goes to the number 1 spot in the AM competition with a 2:24.609. Dieter Sveps in the championship, championship leaders, just mentioned there, didn't we? Only managed a 5th place finish yesterday in competition in the AM class, but retained their championship lead. But they will be joined on the same row. Row number 4 will be all AM right now. Sveps and Braun's top 2 in the championship. What can Babini do? Oh, he's dropped 4 seconds. He's found traffic. So he'll have 2 more attempts at flying laps before the checkered flag comes down. Track temperature stabilised at around 20 degrees. We are expecting both the track and air temps to rise steadily as we go through towards midday.
Yeah, welcome return for Alex Ryman as well. The car 47 that currently sits 3rd fastest on our screens, just behind Fabio Babini. I can say as well, Dieter Sveps was on a decent personal improvement in the first sector, has just unfortunately been slightly undone in Sector 2. Seems to have been the issue for many drivers out there so far. Nathan Braun's, will show say Evgeny Leonov finding a personal best as well in the first sector with a 39.965, and we're also seeing improvements from Johannes Selger. Ryman coming across the line, no improvement from 3rd fastest, as we also see the car number 78 belonging to looking on my screen anyway, it's Fabio Babini, who will be looking to prosaically rise. Still remains 5 tenths away from Matteo Lovisi up at the top, who's just come into the pits. Obviously content will not surely be heading out once again, because there's only 2 minutes to go on the clock. The top 4 all in the pits, so Steens Longin content in 4th place.
Yeah, top 4 in, and interestingly, yesterday, as we went through qualifying, we got all the faster laps later on. This morning, I've not seen a purple sector for about 4 or 5 minutes here.
No, Evgeny Leonov, though, has improved somewhat and went up to 7th fastest. Maybe a mistake heading through Sector 3, because he was on a personal best inside the 1st and 2nd sectors, but just could not find it coming through Sector 3. There is still cars out on track looking to improve, however. Annie Frozio also working on trying to improve from 19th place, just registered her own personal best so far with a 41.6 in Sector 1. But this Ferrari is the one we want to watch, because Arturo Melgar's behind the wheel. 40.3 in Sector 1 is around the ballpark of where we generally see most of the good times, but not necessarily enough for that green first sector that he's looking for. Johannes Selger, though, on an improver in 14th, a 40.9. Not quite as good, though, as the Ferrari we're looking at here.
So, interestingly, Nathan Braun's was in the pits and waiting, and as soon as Dieter Sveps went fastest, Nathan Braun's straight back out. Wants that pole position in the AM competition, currently occupying row number 5 on the grid with Dieter Sveps.
As we now watch Melgar heading through the Campus and Stavolo section, and breezing down through towards Blanchimont. Improvements again from Annie Frozio in the middle sector once again. But at the top, it's Matteo Lovisi, unperturbed up at the front. Dieter Sveps just set a personal improvement in Sector 2. So he'll be looking to try and hop up, if he can, above the likes of Evgeny Leonov. Sveps leading the AM category here at this stage. Arturo Melgar looking to maybe get through past Steens Longin, maybe even Alex Ryman. We'll have to wait and see whether he can achieve that. 1.1 seconds off the top time. A big third sector would be mighty and useful here at this stage. Can he achieve it? Coming up towards the line, no, it's going to be still 1.1 off the top, but fifth fast is certainly not a bad place to start. Lovisi, though, by the looks of it, it's Matteo Lovisi who is going to be on pole position as the checkered flag comes down, but here comes Evgeny Leonov as well. Now Leonov running with a 40.1 in sector 1, 67.7 in sector 2. No necessary green sectors, and he's 1.5 off the best time, so surely will come into the pits.
And we do have still our bronze, 16. Yeah, last. Shouldn't see any changes now in the order as they cross the line. 1.5 down, Leonov. Svepsis come back into the pits, couldn't improve on his time. So now it's just down to Nathan Braun's, who is still out, 2.46 down right now. Braun's is still out on track, but I can't see him on our data map here, so maybe, they're all coming in now.
Yeah, at the moment...
Yeah, slower in sector 1 and 2. Sorry, George.
Yeah, it's we're looking on the screen, Ivan Velasco just hopping up into ninth fastest just as the session came to an end. That's not ideal for them because they have that 20-second success penalty. As we now watch the rest of the cars come across the line, Nathan Braun's now adding his name to the list, takes the checkered flag, 2.4, nearly 2.5 off the top time set by Matteo Lovisi. So it's the 222.966 that grants pole position to Matteo Lovisi, with Fabio Babini in second place, Alex Ryman in third as well. But a great lap from Lovisi. Fantastic driver who was starting to catch up with the rest of the pack towards the very end of yesterday's race. Just wasn't enough in the offing in order to achieve it. Federico Al Rifai, who unfortunately lost the places that he did at the very start, was a little unfortunate. But still, they kept on fighting. Lovisi bringing his very best to the forefront. As I said, so much success in his own right, in his own history, recent history as well, where it comes to racing. But he'll be looking ahead to the race later on this afternoon to hopefully put his car right to the very front. Let's take you through the results. Fastest, Matteo Lovisi for GDL Racing Porsche, and then Fabio Babini in second place. Alex Ryman in third with Stinas Longin in fourth. Arturo Melgar in fifth with Xander Prismalak in sixth. Evgeny Leonov in seventh. Dieter Schweppes in eighth place. Fastest AM with Ivan Velasco, yesterday's race winner. 20-second success penalty, and they're starting from ninth. Not ideal. Nathan Braun's in 10th place. And then further down is Philippe Vils in 11th. We then have Florentin Sescu in 12th with Lorenzo Innocenti in 13th, Nicholas van Dierendonk 14th, Johannes Selger in 15th place, and then Chen in 16th with Laura van den Hengel in 17th, Glauco Solieri in 18th, Annie Frozio in 19th place, and Alvaro Libera at the very tail end of the field. Remember, suffering that radiator issue, have not partaken in this qualifying, but we'll see you this afternoon at 4:10.